Alistair, with the polished tones of some very, very talented musician in the background. We're going to brave the noise. I've really been looking forward to this interview, and let's start at the top with the horse that's favourite, the horse that draws Stallgate 1. Life is Good. He's won everything that he's been asked to win. He's going over 10 furlongs for the first time. What do you make of his draw?
Andrew, it's great to see you first and foremost. Obviously, members and journos, racing journos from around the world have come to Dubai for the World Cup. And what a World Cup it is. Many believe it's one of the strongest renewals, certainly the strongest renewal in the last few years. And Life is Good out of Stallgate number 1. There's a lot of ways that you can look at it. On the dirt so far this season, draw number 1 has been a huge advantage. But as we know, when we think of the Vodacom Durban July, Africa's greatest horse race, you can almost get into a scrum and almost end up in a not ideal position with a wall of horses to get past. You've got a lot of horse under you, and you kind of run onto heels of horses in front of you. It's not necessarily what you want. There were half the crowd were actually really, really pleased with Stallgate number 1 for Life is Good, and the other half thought, oh, there's a little bit of luck needed. But I think he's a good enough horse to get himself out of it, and I think if he handles the preparation that he's had, because one dynamic for the Dubai World Cup is that of the American horses, they've had such different preps. Life is Good's prep coming straight out of the US on the back of a big win in the Pegasus.
What is interesting is that Hypothetical got a huge round of applause. He is a very, very popular horse, drawn 7, but inside him is Irate, which is his brother.
Yeah, and well, one thing we know about Hypothetical, he's going to go over to the front. He's going to make a pace, so that'll suit quite a few horses. And then Hot Rod Charlie, who's obviously the fan favourite, also drawing reasonably well in the middle. If he wins, Maidan Racecourse isn't going to stop for a few nights. And it's great to have these types of horses here. It was an honour to rub shoulders with all those connections up on stage. I think many know that commentating is my first love, and emceeing is not something that frightens me, but it's something that I can almost do without. But not
Could have fooled me, Stan.
Not many have emceed the draw of the Dubai World Cup, so it was a great honour to have Brittany Ayrton as well from the United States helping me along, and I was helping her along. So now that we've got all the preliminaries out the way, looking forward to the big one.
Okay, what is interesting is that Said bin Sarur, who's won this race 9 times, confessed that his horse is working, the best it's ever worked, and he wasn't sure to run in the Dubai World Cup because he seems preferable to grass.
It's such an enigma, Real World, because for weeks everyone was sitting thinking, well, where's Real World going to run? There were so many options, and all of a sudden Said bin Sarur commits to the Dubai World Cup. On the dirt, we know that he's potentially a Group 1 horse anywhere in the world, but on turf, dirt's a huge question mark. He's not necessarily bred for it. And here he is in the Dubai World Cup, taking his chances for a winning combination. As you say, Said bin Sarur decorated in the Dubai World Cup in the all blue of Godolphin, one of 2 horses in the all blue. And they've taken the punt to go for the Dubai World Cup. So that's another interesting dynamic. It's hit or bust really for him.
Maybe they're saying that the turf is stronger or that the Shima is stronger.
That's potentially the angle that Said bin Sarur and Hugh Anderson of Godolphin took at the end of the day. It's a seriously strong Shima Classic. It's a seriously strong Dubai turf. It's a seriously strong card from top to bottom. But that's not to say the Dubai World Cup is weak. It's serious this year.
Let's just touch on Country Grammar. Obviously, Bob Baffert's got a sparkling record with this race. He will have a very good barometer as to how good Country Grammar is, notwithstanding the fact that he's run second in the Saudi Cup, but he'll know how good Life is Good.
Country Grammar is an interesting one. The run of the Saudi Cup behind Emblem Road was on the top draw. I almost think a few more strides he might have won the race, but Emblem Road was just probably the most popular winner that you'll get in racing this decade. A Saudi-trained horse winning the Saudi Cup. You would have got cricket score odds on that happening before the race, but look where we are. Country Grammar, proper racehorse. For me, I'd be surprised if he were to trouble Life is Good and Hot Rod Charlie. I just think the noise coming out of the American camp is more pro Life is Good and more pro Hot Rod Charlie, but Country Grammar's no mug.
Just to go back to these 2 great horses, traditionally the run in the Maktoum Challenge has been extremely successful, not least of all horses like Curlin. There are a whole host of horses that have run and won the Maktoum Challenge. He's acclimatized.
I think that the prep for Hot Rod Charlie has been planned for about a year. The question mark I have about round 2 of the Maktoum Challenge, round 1 was strong, round 3 was very strong. Round 2 just seemed to, well, the talk around town is that it was just slightly weaker. I think the runner-up Al Nafood is a huge chance earlier on in the meeting, but Hot Rod Charlie really made loud to the opposition on that occasion. But everything behind, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th, haven't ripped up any trees since. So all you can do is win. And if Hot Rod Charlie were to win, then Medan Racecourse won't shut its doors for a long time.
Well, your prophetic words in that commentary was, if he's 75% fit, what about the rest?
Doug O'Neill and Leandro Mora, Leandro obviously being the assistant who's come out to Dubai for Doug for many years, made it clear that he was nowhere near 100% fit, saying 75% fit. So you just wonder what more there is left in the tank. I actually saw him work at Medan Racecourse a couple of weeks ago, and he looks a picture of health. The morning that I went, he didn't really expose his hand and show his exact well-being, but in the flesh, he's a beautiful horse, as you'd expect at the Dubai World Cup, and one of the leading contenders, no doubt.
To put the lid in it, Todd Pletcher, inducted into the Hall of Fame last year. This is the one part of his CV that's missing. It would be an incredible tribute to his greatness.
There's so many different things. I mean, there's a wall of fame at Medan Racecourse just outside the Parade Ring restaurants. And as you go up, you just see all these famous names. And you actually think, there's so many famous names that are missing. And obviously Todd Pletcher being one of those. Wouldn't be a dry in the house. But you know, not just the Dubai World Cup. There's so many top horses. Manobo running in the Dubai Gold Cup. I was out at Godolphin a few weeks ago. I got the privilege of being invited out there by Charlie Appleby and his team, and Manobo's the apple of Godolphin's eye. But that's not all. Ubia hadn't arrived in the UAE 2 weeks ago when I went, but you know, they've obviously got a beer running, Manobo, and obviously the sprinters, Man of Promise, who's been here for a few months, and Creative Force, who's just arrived. So, you know, it could very well be a blue show, and there wouldn't be any surprises if it were, but there's just going to be huge pressure, top horses from all angles, and I'm looking forward to it.
Adrian McGuinness, his horse got slaughtered in the Super Saturday race meeting, but he is a Prix de la Bay winner. He's a very good horse.
A case of you. I was actually, funny enough, one of the first people I saw at the Dubai World Cup draw was Adrian McGuinness. I was having a chat to Mark Bird, the handicapper in these parts. He's Irish, and I got introduced to Adrian McGuinness. Obviously, I've seen him from afar, but never had the pleasure of meeting him. And I said, "How's your horse?" And he gave me a little wink, which makes you think, well, is it just the Man of Promise Creative Force show? He showed that he's an above-average horse. He's shown that he can trouble the best. As you say, he's won a Group 1 in France already.
Huge courage there.
Absolutely. And he showed that even though he got beaten the other day, he showed courage, because a lesser horse would have spat the dummy out and run midfield.
And the winner was on the strip already.
Absolutely. But he was impressive at the same time as Man of Promise. And the other dynamic about Man of Promise is that everyone said he can only win fresh. Last time, he didn't have to be fresh and won. But now he's got the third run after the rest. I wonder if that'll come back to bite him.
Alistair, we could go all night without any shadow of doubt, but thank you very much for giving us of your time, and well done this evening. Look forward to hearing your polished tones on Dubai World Cup night.
Yep, looking forward to that. That's pretty much what I signed up for, but also looking forward to getting back to South Africa in a couple of weeks.